Hello there, welcome to Football on 5 action from the Sky Bet Championship as our main focus tonight, but we'll also bring you highlights from the two games played in League Two today.
Yes, and with us are former Rotherham and Leeds boss, now in charge at Mansfield, Steve Evans, and alongside him, Chris Gunter, a key member of the Wales team that took Euro 2016 by storm, and a Reading team storming up the Championship. Good to see you, Steve, and Chris, we'll hear how you got on at Fulham a little bit later, so don't go running off anywhere.
Steve's laughing already.
And here is what else is coming up.
5 defeats on the spin and made winter ice cold for Alex. Neil and Norwich were looking to stop the slide against Brentford.
Great footwork. Pritchard!
Messrs Monk and Bruce have awoken two sleeping giants. Promotion credentials were put to the test as Leeds met Aston Villa.
And stay with us for some cracking goals and some crackers behaviour as the gloves came off for Preston.
Before all the matches kicked off this weekend, there were tributes across the country for the 71 victims of the Colombia air crash, which included members of the Brazilian football team Chapecoense.
We'll start then at Carrow Road. Your commentator for Norwich against Brentford is Paul Walker.
It'll be interesting to see how this Norwich defence stands up to the challenge today. They have been leaking a lot of goals of late. Howson, watched closely by Yanaris. Pritchard delivers, lovely cross. Oliveira gets his head to it. Already Alex Pritchard heavily involved in this game. Finds room for the cross, which is a very good one. And Oliveira unable to direct that header on target. Here's Pritchard. Push down the line for Pinto. Free to aim for. It's a little too deep. Kept alive by Brady. Naismith. Brady again. Delicious looking cross. Oliveira was in there. Well, he's taking the plaudits. But who got the final touch? That's the question. Jacob Murphy might have got a nick on it. It might also be an own goal off John Egan. Either way, Norwich off to a flyer here. Owen Woods has given it straight to Jacob Murphy. He's got a lot of work to do. He can accelerate now, though, and he goes down inside the area. That'll be a penalty. Well, he has pointed to the spot, Jeff Eltringham. Murphy driving beyond Egan and Harley Dean. And the leg of Dean sends him tumbling. In the 16th minute at Carrow Road. Oh, saved and followed in by Dorrans. He got away with it, and Norwich have a firm grip on the game now. Is this the day that their wretched run of form finally comes to an end? They have a 2-0 lead. Barbe. It's a cracking ball out wide. Maxime Collin. Bassong missed it. And Pinto puts it behind for a Brentford corner. Short by Woods. Steered back into the melting pot and headed wide. Well, Hogan beats the turf in frustration. Here's Sawyers. Terrible first touch. Pounced on by Howson, who releases Jacob Murphy, who's looking for options, goes himself. Bentley with a good strong hand to it. This is Oliveira! Well, that was vicious as well. Murphy full of confidence, testing Bentley. And the second one lashed wide by Oliveira. Bassong. Given away to Woods. Clark away from Dorrans. Yanaris. Vibe shifting it wide for Woods. Can he find the right cross? Looking for Hogan, got his head to it. Well, he did brilliantly there to win that ball in the first place, Scott Hogan. Woods delivers, and Hogan in between two Norwich City defenders. Dorrans, important touch. Howson. Intelligent ball to Pinto, who's got some room to work with. Dorrans. This is Robbie Brady. Naismith. Pritchard. Oh, beautiful ball round the corner. It's 3! Robbie Brady! Surely has settled it for Norwich City. And the Canaries are back on song. What about the ball from Pritchard? And stuck beautifully away by Robbie Brady. Hit long here by Brentford. Took early, would have been fantastic from Hogan. He caught the volley as sweet as you like, but it goes dipping over the top. Hoffman. Pritchard in there with a boot. Sliding in was Dorrans. Oliveira. Pritchard. Now Robbie Brady, scorer of the Norwich City third. Josh Murphy. Rolled into Oliveira. Possibility of a fourth goal here. Oh, what a finish from Nelson Oliveira, who thunders it past Bentley. They are cruising now. When Oliveira receives this, he's still got a lot to do. As his back to goal, spins away from Barbe and Egan and crashes the ball into the net beyond a helpless Daniel Bentley. Brentford are dropping deeper and deeper. Here's Pritchard. Great footwork. Pritchard! Stinging the palms of Bentley. The goal just won't come for him. Terrific feat, though. Pritchard getting there ahead of his man, and he takes it over. Still Pritchard, rolled into Josh Murphy, they're queuing up in the centre. Pritchard! He has his goal! It is a fabulous fifth for Norwich City. Alex Pritchard finally has the goal he has craved. He started it and finished it. Norwich City have been ruthless.
We've got quality players. You know, I mean, if we can make sure that our fight and appetite and attitude and all the rest of that sort of stuff is right every week, I don't think anybody questions our quality. You know, the one frustrating thing for me is looking at the players we've got is making sure that I get the best from them week in and week out. You know, because when they do that, then it's quite easy for everybody to see that we're a good side.
I just spoke to the players and had a frank and honest conversation. They have to get better every day. That's the only way you can do it on the training ground, and then that comes onto the football pitch. You know, I'll have to have a look at the selections that we play, and whether any of the players look fragile at the moment. But you know, we need to get out of this run and go and get a win next week.
Yeah, worrying times for Brentford. We'll discuss that in a moment. Norwich, Steve Evans, first of all. I know you're good mates with Alex Neil. They hadn't won since the middle of October. How badly did he personally need that? I
think he needed it for himself. I think when you look at the pressure, that there's been a lot of external pressure. But I know Jez Moxey very well too, and I don't think there's been any internal pressure on Alex. I think he's been fully focused on the training ground, getting his players ready. And he's right what he said there, they have got quality players. And when they apply themselves properly, we've just been discussing with Chris, suddenly they're a top-class side, they're one of the best sides in the league, when he's got that application from his players. It was a fabulous performance, Chris, and at the heart of it, Alex Pritchard, he ran the show, he was buzzing all over the place. Yeah, and I remember a couple of seasons ago when he was on loan at Brentford, and he was a very good player. He caused us problems in both them games, and yeah, they spent obviously
a lot of money on him, and no, he's a very good player. And they've got some very good players, and you know, if they can keep them fit and they can get a bit of momentum, then I'm sure, you know, you'd expect to see them in and around at least the top 6.
A goal and an assist for him today. He'd had 4 loans, Steve, in the last 5 years. He seems to be flourishing now that he's settled.
Well, I think he's a magnificent player, and I think Alec Neil, despite some criticism locally, deserves enormous credit. That kid was on the 25, heading to sign for another great club in Brighton, and Alex gets on the phone and managed to convince him to say, there's a big future for you here. I think when you've got players like him and Houlihan in the team, finding those pockets, the special players at the level.
How much pressure do you think Dean Smith is under now, Steve? Because that's 4 defeats in a row, 1 win in their last 9, and he said that was the worst performance he's had as a manager.
I think it'll be worrying times for him. I think when you're thinking the games that Smudger has managed in at Walsall and at Brentford, and he says some outstanding performances, but like every manager, myself included, you have lots of defeats along the way because it's the nature of football, and for him to say he's bitterly disappointed in that. But he said the right thing. Let's get back on the training ground. Let's get a real focus and let's work hard. And the nice thing he's got at Brentford Football Club with Matthew Banning, the owner, and the key directors there is they're very loyal, they're very strategic, and they'll continue to work to the plan. So we hope he gets more opportunities to be there.
Well, a day to forget, that's for sure. On the way next, 5 successive wins has got everyone raving about the Royals. But would the roof come crashing down at the Cottage as Reading faced Fulham? This is Football on 5. You're watching highlights from the Sky Bet Championship. Now, Rafa Benitez's rotation failed to deliver the goods against Hull in the EFL Cup on Tuesday. He made 7 changes to the Newcastle team that lost to Blackburn last Saturday, and they still went out of the competition.
On Friday, the league leaders were at Nottingham Forest, who had won their last 2 matches. Your commentators are Andy Hinchcliffe and Daniel Mann.
Perez offering himself for the short one. Shelvey. Threateningly enough from John Joe Shelvey. Well, Kieran Clark, I understand why he was a little aggrieved, but Forrest will certainly argue he was doing his share of the grabbing. Lansbury gets it back from him. Well, a bit of naughtiness has broken out on the edge of the area between Shelvey and Lansbury, and I think the assistant has seen this, and it could be trouble, big trouble.
Oh, Shelvey seemed to kick out to me. The referee had actually turned his back on it. This is a big call for the officials.
It's big trouble for John Joe Shelvey, a real game changer, a red card for the man who makes Newcastle tick.
Well, the ones are coming together in the penalty area, and this is the problem with John Joe Shelvey, a wonderfully talented player, but he can lose his head.
Can Carl Darlow produce heroics on his former stamping ground? Yes, he can! And just what Newcastle needed in a moment of peril. A memorable return to the City ground for Carl Darlow. It's Ritchie to play it in, and Clark is there! Whistle has gone. Well, they will feel nothing is going their way at the moment.
I'm sure the referee just indicated there was a pull on his man.
Cash. Robbed by Clark. Able to keep the pressure on. Hayden. Cross got a deflection. It's a gift for Ritchie, who buries it.
Well, how important is that Carl Darlow penalty save now? This is an emphatic finish, though.
Here's Lansbury with a chance, goes down again, and he's given it again. Well, it's Paul Dummett who is deemed guilty of a foul that denies a goal-scoring opportunity without attempting to play the ball, and he is sent off. Newcastle down to 9.
Again, he makes a bit of a meal of it, but there is contact. It is a penalty.
Lansbury to step up. And Darlow produces again. Extraordinary. Well, that's what it means to them.
And once again, you look at Darlow reading the shape of the penalty taker. What a return to the City ground this is for Carl Darlow.
Mills, Lansbury. Umbelonga is in there. Oh, and Darlow with a remarkable save. Benton's still in there and forces it in. Well, it wasn't pretty, but it's a thing of beauty as far as the Forest fans are concerned.
There's a tangle of legs. And eventually Bentner just sticks out a leg and pokes it home.
Whipped in dangerously. Where's it going to drop? It drops in. Well, Mills wheeled away. Cash delighted. Forest have got the lead. That's what we do know. Newcastle's resistance finally broken, and it may well be Jamal Lascelles who got the final touch back at Forest.
For me, it was a crazy game because to see the goalkeeper stop 2 penalties. So last time I saw that, I played goalkeeper, and to play 11 against 9, it was a crazy game.
Everything was against us, so you could see the game. We had a lot of things that we can complain, but I was really surprised with Lansbury, the number 10, the way that he was acting twice in the penalty, and also with John Joe Shelby, but maybe he's proud of himself.
So, Rafa Benitez accusing Henry Lansbury of acting there, involved in both those penalty decisions. Chris, let's have a look back at both of them and the subsequent penalties. What's your view of the first one when Shelby walked?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a coming together, and then the linesman has obviously seen, you know, Shelby kick out, and I think if you're being honest, Shelby's obviously given the officials a decision to make, and you know, if people think Lansbury's made more of it, you know, he's been given the opportunity to, so, you know, it's just one of those where he's got a penalty for his team.
And then there's a coming together here, Steve, with Paul Dummett. Again, Lansbury going down. Is he on the way down before he's even touched?
Very clever there, isn't he?
Yeah, I think, listen, he's put his body across the front of the ball, but I think sitting as a neutral, there's no doubt for me it's a penalty kick, and the referee then has to make a decision as whether that's a genuine attempt to play the ball. It probably looks, for me, as if the referee's got it right, to be fair to him.
It's fair to say there was a few controversial decisions as well in that game. At 0-0, Kieran Clark went down in the box. Should Newcastle have had a penalty at 0-0?
Yeah, well, this is sort of a thing now that's been brought in more this season, hasn't it, of, you know, grappling in the box and stuff. And I think, looking back, I certainly think if you're a Newcastle player there, you're thinking that, you know, Matt Mills probably hasn't made a genuine attempt to play the ball.
If that's not grappling, I don't know what is.
Listen, we all know if that's Mike Dean, that's a penalty, possibly a red card, because he's done it to my teams.
And then the goal, which was disallowed here, Steve.
Well, I think again, it's one of them. If you're Rafa, you can see his frustration. I think if it's for you or it goes against you, you're thinking, why is that not a goal? And if you're not in the Forest gaffer, you're thinking, oh, there's a little tug there. So I just think it's one of them where the referee's called it. If I'm the Newcastle gaffer, I'm bitterly disappointed. That's not a goal.
No, it's 3 wins in a row for Forest. Newcastle have now lost 5 league games this season, which is the same amount as last year's champions Burnley and Brighton in the whole of the season. And that defeat for Newcastle did present an opportunity for the chasing pack.
Yeah, in a moment we're going to have a look at how Chris and his Reading side got on against Fulham. First, though, Brighton, who had the chance to go top with a win at Cardiff.
Top spot was an enticing prospect for Brighton, but Cardiff were equally intent on boosting their bid to escape the bottom 3. Aaron Gunnarsson providing an early test for David Stockdale before Albion began to get a grip on the match without giving Bluebirds keeper Ben Amos too much to worry about. Yuri Skalak's second attempt, when his free kick was blocked, the closest Chris Hughton's side came to a first-half breakthrough. And when they did find the net 10 minutes from the end, referee Roger East deemed Shane Duffy's header a foul, cutting short Glenn Murray's celebrations. The home team had done a good job of stifling the promotion chasers, and with the pressure finally mounting, Amos was sharp to deny Sam Baldock, clinching the Welsh club's first championship clean sheet in 12 home games. Brighton's frustration was summed up in stoppage time when Gaetan Bong launched himself at Kadeem Harris. The fullback's second booking of the match puts him out of the club's next chance to go top against Leeds on Friday. Cardiff undoubtedly more satisfied with the final outcome.
I want December to be a good month, and we set off in a great style today, because they are a good team and they had an incentive to get to the top of the league if they beat us, and the goal has not had that much to do, so I'm pleased, really.
It's certainly not the end of the road, but it's an opportunity missed. I think there's no doubt, particularly in the second half. But I think you've got to give credit to Cardiff. I think they had a game plan to very much to stop us playing. They play a particular way which they'll give a lot of teams a lot of problems.
Fulham's home form has been comparable to sides at the foot of the table, but they started the brighter here. Floyd Ayite denied by Ali Al-Habsi in the Reading goal. The opener came courtesy of a fine cross from Ryan Fredericks on his return to the starting lineup, though our studio guest may want to look away now. Chris Gunter giving his keeper no chance. Reading had conceded just one goal in their last 5 games, winning them all. But this was to be a day for their defence to forget. An excellent strike from Chris Martin made it 2-0. And Yapstam's side made matters worse for themselves just 5 minutes later. Unseen by our camera, but spotted by referee Oliver Langford, Danny Williams had kicked out at Stefan Johansson. A straight red for Williams, a mountain to climb for Reading. This was a match dominated by the home side, 12 efforts on target. The visitors managed just 2, and George Evans' header barely tested David Button in the Fulham goal. By contrast, the Reading defence was under near constant siege and was breached again through a fine individual effort from Shawnee Aluko. His celebrations, though, were cut short as Reading claimed an offside Martin had got the final touch. Not so, according to Langford's assistant. Last season, when Reading came to Craven Cottage, they were 3rd, conceded 4, and that began their slide down the table. So this must have felt familiar, as Johansson put this match beyond them. Fulham's only other home league win since the opening day of the season had been a 5-0 hammering of Huddersfield. Martin scored twice in that game. He was denied a second here by Al-Habsi. But not for long, Martin did match that scoreline with a late free kick. Reading need to be sure they don't match last season's decline.
We pressed very well, we combined well, we scored many goals, we missed many chances like always, and at the end we keep clean sheet. This is news for us.
I've lost games as well with numbers like this as well, even in the top of European football. Sometimes it happens, but the thing is, what can we do afterwards, and can we pick it up again and bounce back in the next game?
Well, that's definitely a first for this show, booking a player to come on and for him to score an own goal in a 5-0 defeat. Chris, first of all, fair play. We thought you'd be in the pub by now. We were thinking who else we could get on.
He's been in the pub.
The result, first of all, you were flying, you'd won 5 in a row, and then you concede 5 today. What happened?
Well, first of all, Fulham were very good. They, I think they'd done their homework on us through the week. You could tell that they started the game really well. We weren't playing fantastic, but it doesn't know it when you're right back. Decides to head one in after 15 minutes. And from then on, pretty much everything that could have gone wrong.
We're going to make you watch it
really
again.
Did, yeah, thank you for that.
Good cross, and to be fair, you took it well.
Yeah, no, I could tell you the truth and say that there was a corner of the stadium where the sun was really bright, and I genuinely lost the ball. But no one will believe me, so I'll just have to take it on the chin.
It's the only time he's ever been compared to Mike Malone. You know, when he stoops and heads it in.
You had a man sent off as well, which didn't help. You were already massively on the back foot, and Chris Martin then helped himself to a couple of goals. He was sharp today.
Yeah, and like I said, we weren't playing well, and maybe if you're looking at the stats and stuff, you would say that the sending off has had a big impact, but you know we weren't playing well before that. It obviously did change the game, but I don't think we were ever really looking like getting back into the game. It's disappointing, and like I say, an own goal, a red card, and conceding 5. It was everything that,
and we
could have gone wrong.
We heard a little bit of Yapstam there. What's he like as a guy? How was he with you in the dressing room, and how's he been for you this season?
Yeah, well, I tried to avoid him straight after the game. But no, he's been fantastic, and he's not a manager. I think some people may expect him to come in and get really sort of angry and stuff, but he's one that he'll sit back and we'll be in tomorrow morning looking at it. He's very thorough in what he does, and he's raised the standards of the football club, and yeah, he's been brilliant for us.
Is he a key reason for the successes you've had? So?
Yeah, he's the main reason. You know, like I say, there was a big change in the summer, players and staff-wise, and he settled everything down. I think people trust him as a person, and his knowledge of the game is fantastic, and he came in with a respect at the beginning because of what he'd done in his career, but as an actual manager as well, he's been brilliant. And
has he done anything? Actually
yeah,
done anything?
Yeah, no, he's done a lot. Like I say, I think he's raised the standards of the whole club in a quiet way, and he's a leader, and he's done that in his actions. He doesn't go around screaming and shouting, and I think if you asked anyone at the football club, right the way from the bottom, you know, the canteen staff, right the way through to the players, he treats everybody the same, and with the career he had, people may not expect that, but he's been top drawer, and he's the main reason why we're doing well.
Genuine contenders?
Playing it down, isn't he? Saying finishing 10th is going to be difficult in the top 10. How realistic is it that you can be promotion contenders?
Yeah, we genuinely haven't set any targets. I think football with social media and stuff these days, after the last sort of couple of games, people are expecting us to go on and get automatic promotion. Now, after we lose 5-0 today, we're probably going to go on a slide, and people don't expect us to be anywhere near the top 6. So it's one of those where he said in his interview, and we did say after the game, it's one thing losing, but it's how you respond. We're going to lose games between now and the end of the season. It's how we respond, and we have to do that next week, because this league is full of ups and downs, and it's important not to get too high when you're doing well, and obviously not too low, even though it does hurt when obviously you're on the back end of a 5-0.
So competitive this season as well for those playoff spots as well. OK, coming up after the break, we'll head to Elland Road, where the good recent form of Leeds and Aston Villa would be put to the test.
Welcome back. You're watching highlights from the Sky Bet Championship on Football on 5. Next up, well, we've got a roundup starting with Birmingham City, lying 4th, with just 3 defeats all season.
Today, they took on a Barnsley side, sliding down the table after just 1 win in 11.
As formidable as Birmingham's form has been, they soon got the hint they'd be in for a tough day, with Michael Morrison surviving Sam Winnall's enthusiastic claim for handball. Referee David Coote not interested, but Barnsley clearly posed a threat. While at the other end they have a keeper who, going into the weekend, had managed more saves than anyone else in the Championship. Adam Davies surely can't have made many better than the one which foiled Clayton Donaldson. It was initially a good day for both goalies, with Thomas Kuszak pulling off a terrific stop from Ryan Kent. Paul Heckingbottom's men have been working hard on set pieces as they try to recapture their early season form, and ultimately that made a huge difference. Mark Roberts flicking home Conor Hurahan's free kick with just 7 minutes to go to the break. Though even that short spell was long enough for David Davis to almost put Birmingham back on level terms after shrugging off Josh Scowen. Davis clearly fully committed to the Blues' quest for an equaliser, over-committed in the second half. Already on a yellow before he flew into the challenge with James Bree, the midfielder didn't even hang about for the ref to deliver his verdict. Birmingham's remaining 10 men had their chances of a comeback all but ended by Winnall's emphatic header with 6 minutes to go. And there was still time for all the training ground practice to pay dividends yet again. Barnsley, the first to beat the Blues on their own turf in 8 league games, with Winnall adding his second. Not the warm-up Gary Rowett wanted for next week's trip to Newcastle.
You know, for 18 games we've been excellent. You know, we're in 4th place. We've only lost 3 games. But today we didn't deserve anything.
I thought it was really professional. So 3-0, 3 goals away from on a clean sheet. Obviously delighted with that, but it's more the manner of it. We've been working really hard and speaking about an away performance and, you know, what contributes to a good away performance, and then going out and executing it. So the fact that we went out and did it is the most pleasing bit.
The Terriers have lost their bite of late, beaten in their last 2 games, but they've not lost in 3 visits to Ewood Park, and Casey Palmer's unopposed header put them ahead. And but for Jason Steele, they would have added to it. Aaron Moy saw his dipping free kick kept out by the agile home keeper, and when Steele was beaten by a powerful Martin Craney header, he was left blessing his crossbar. And as so often happens, profligacy was punished. Michael Hayfeller hauled down Sam Gallagher for a debatable but avoidable penalty. And Danny Graham fired Rovers level from the spot, straight down the middle, 10 minutes before half-time. Huddersfield might have won it, but Moy was again left cursing Steele's resilience. And good though they were, it's 5 league games without a win, and they're now out of the top 6.
Maybe one of our best performances in the season with the wrong result. I think we for sure deserve to win this game. Congratulations to Blackburn.
We had to again show a different type of performance today, which was really pleasing from my point of view, because the spirit and the heart and that togetherness that we showed, that really brought us back into the game. Obviously Stonewall penalty on Gallagher, and Danny Graham slots it away. Second half was a little bit more even, but they were always dangerous. I mean, they pass and move the ball really well. I mean, they're pleasing in the eye, Huddersfield, they really are.
A good point for Blackburn today. Bad day for Birmingham, though, as well. But what a big win that was for Barnsley. A first win in 5 for Paul Heckingbottom's side. The Tykes clearly been practising on their set pieces this week. Right, next up, it is Leeds United, who pushed Liverpool all the way in the EFL Cup on Tuesday.
They were back in league action this evening, facing an Aston Villa side still unbeaten under that man, Steve Bruce. Your commentators, Danny Higginbottom and Daniel Mann.
The first meeting between these two in the best part of 13 years tells you what a difficult time it has been for this great club here at Ellen Road. There's Justed. Ronaldo Vieira doing well, but Westwood matching it. It's Jedinak. Well, not a time for hesitation. Someone had to take charge of that situation, and Steve Bruce is raging.
His penalty incident is a complete lack of communication. I don't think that's a penalty. He does, if you just see here, when he comes out green, he gets to the ball. He does get to the ball, so for me that's not a penalty, it's the correct decision, but the lack of communication between Taylor and Green is something that needs to be sorted out.
It will be a Leeds United corner. Janssen adding his presence, a goal to his name against Norwich. Oh, and that certainly is a very presentable chance for Janssen. Well, Villa off the hook. Villa off the hook.
You can see why he's got his head in his hands. He'll be disappointed because this should have been a goal. It's a simple enough run for him. He gets ahead of Jedinak, but he can't keep it down.
Ross McCormack not available to Aston Villa tonight on a return to familiar territory, but a bit of divided loyalties in the family. His young son Leighton, one of the Leeds United mascots today. Dukara. Bartley's there. The chances are coming. Greetings, Grapple fans, as Kyle Bartley is saying he felt that he was being held by Tommy Elphick. It looked pretty blatant, to be honest.
He's definitely complaining as the ball was played in here. It's a situation, you know, they both have got hold of each other, and you can see there, you know, they're both doing the same thing to each other, and often you see the referees letting that go.
Well, some good work from Gardner there, and here's Adoma. Well, it's broken his way. It's Albert Adoma for Aston Villa. Well, a big opportunity which they do not take.
It's a fantastic run from Adoma. He gets the better of Janssen.
No roof. Hutton. Justed did well. Now here's Westwood. Well, the snapshot, others might not have taken it on in that situation.
It's a great save from Green, and it is a fantastic strike when Westwood first touch.
They wrote the blueprint of Brighton last time out on the road. Fantastic performance. A game they would have felt they should have won. Vieira. To Hadi Sacco. Frenchman finding Ayling. Chester on the stretch. Roof picks up the pieces. Well, Roof feeling that Jedinak was guilty of a foul.
Not for me, not at all. He's actually stood on Jedinak's foot.
Bukara's ball is really threatening, and Kamar Roof raises the roof at Elland Road. Their first effort on target in the game, and it's a hugely memorable one for Kamar Roof.
Fantastic ball in. Roof with a great header. He's brave and he gets there first, and he gets his just rewards.
Oh, it's a bit cold for that. Oh, straight to the feet of Taylor, and it's broken for Moet, and Taylor. Woods up there. There he is. Oh, Galini to beat it away. Tried from a very tight angle.
Fantastic play from Taylor, getting the ball across the Wood. Wood does everything right. He just chooses the wrong option.
He's done a great job in improving this Leeds United team, whatever the end result. Sacco. Jedinak. Oh, straight to Sacco. They can't afford to do that. Leeds could kill it off here. It's Sacco! And Wood will get there! And the game is sealed for Leeds United! And what a statement it is!
Fantastic play. Once again, there it is, the pace of Sacco. If it can't keep up with him, Wood, you can see, it's definitely his goal. He's there to finish it off.
And his 13th of the season, certainly unlucky for Aston Villa, who are now facing their first defeat under Steve Bruce.
Just describe that moment, your first Leeds goal.
Yeah, massive, massive. Been working hard for this moment. And it's good to get it against Villa as well. Obviously my local area. But yeah, the team worked so hard to get this result.
He's a team player. Of course they want to score goals, but the most important bit is they contribute to the team, and he's been doing that fantastically over the last few weeks and since he's come into the building. So I think that goal will make him have an easier night's sleep.
We haven't done too badly today. We've made a poor mistake, and then when we chased it, you know, we became a little bit ragged, but I think that's normal when you're trying to chase a game. But you know, it's been a decent start, and yeah, you're right, how we recover now is crucial.
We have a real busy period coming up towards Christmas. We know we're going to have to play a lot better than what we did today, but such a good mentality, such a good spirit this group have, and we have quality, you know, as well. And like I said, a very difficult week. We had a local derby, we had Liverpool away, and then to play against Aston Villa at home, it's never easy. So a fantastic effort this week from this young squad.
Another great result for Leeds United. Steve Evans, your former club, are on a terrific run. They were in the relegation places in September.
Well, I think it just shows that you have to be given time. And as we all know, Elland Road with Massimo Challenge, you don't tend to get time. But Gary's seen that through, and he believed in what he was developing and working on. And it's coming to fruition. You know, they're really looking every time they go on the pitch, they're looking like they can win the game.
Kamar Roof was brilliant in midweek at Anfield. And a first goal today, he was special again today. Is he now finally finding his feet at this level after a bit of time to adjust?
Yeah, and, you know, I mean, the cross is unbelievable. You know, obviously he gets all the credit because he's nodded it in, but I'm sure he'll be the first one to go over and say thank you, because it was a brilliant cross. And yeah, he played well in the week, and obviously scoring today, the first goal, he'll be feeling really good about himself.
Chris Wood's on a great scoring run as well. He can't stop scoring. Every single match now, you're looking on the score sheet expecting his name to be there.
And every time he gets a goal, every time he gets his rewards, I'm so pleased for him. You know,
wanted the pass though, there, didn't he?
Yeah. He was. I said that when I seen the goal for the first time, he was getting on the end of that to tap it over the line. But he's got himself super fit. The back end of last season into the summer, the fitness team deserve enormous credit. But the person who deserves all the credit really is Chris Wood. He's a great lad. He's a goal scorer. And they have to keep him fit. He's the main striker.
Gary Monk, the 7th manager since Cellino took over the club. Clearly a hard man to please. Is Gary Monk really getting that relationship right, do you think?
Well, he's winning football matches, and we all know for the end of the season he has to put the football club into the playoffs, or it could be a different story. But it's only after, I think Gary talked about it earlier today, when it's only after 6 or 7 games, he was under enormous pressure, and there was all the speculation that he could go on. It was.
What is he like, though, Cellino? He has the cameras are here. What's he like?
No, listen, I had a good relationship with him. I think he's a president or a chairman that's known for changing coaches when he wants to do something differently. Probably everyone thinks it's too quickly. Brian McDermott, myself, Neil Redfern, we could go on. But what he's got now is he's put someone in that they're obviously believing in. But for me, what they've got to do, they've got to back this guy, Gary Monk, in January, because we've just been speaking off camera. Well, he'll be wanting to improve the squad, he'll want to improve it in key areas. And we all know the Newcastles and the Brightons and the Readings and all the clubs up there, they're going to have a chairman that's going to go and strengthen it. The Leeds United supporters and the manager deserve him to have some help and back him with strengthening the squad.
Right, on we go. Kenny Jackett resigns as the Rotherham manager this week after only 5 games, only 39 days in charge. That makes him the shortest-serving permanent boss in the club's history and leaves the 4th that he is to leave, I should say, since Steve departed 14 months ago. Yeah, coach Paul Warne has taken interim charge of a side 12 points from safety, and today they were at Burton.
Paul Warne urged his players to treat this trip like a cup final. Burton among the sides just above the drop zone they're desperate to haul in. But the plans went to pot from the moment Jackson Irvine swept the home side into the lead following some good work by Chris O'Grady. Goals in successive games for the Australian, who was keen to return the favour for the big man up front, flighting a neat first-time chip into O'Grady's path soon after as Burton tried to turn the screw. Even one goal promised to be enough for Nigel Clough's men, who boast a miserly defence on their own patch. But they did make themselves more comfortable from an unlikely source. The highly regarded Matt Palmer's known more for his passing than his shooting. A few more of those and that will quickly change. Rotherham heading for a 12th defeat in the last 15 winless league outings. Tom Adeyemi's stoppage time effort did nothing to disguise the fact that the next boss on the conveyor belt faces a monumental challenge.
Hopefully someone will be in soon to steer the ship. I'm just trying to, you know, give the team or give the club, pass it on in better condition that I was given it. So that's all I'm trying to do. And so I don't know about interviews, I don't know anything like that. I've just been told to just keep the team for as long as the chairman finds someone he wants to run the club.
Paul Warne unable to stop the rot today. We'll talk the Millers in a moment. But first of all, Chris, what about that second Burton goal from Matty Palmer? That's got to be a contender for goal of the weekend.
Yeah, after mine it is...
You win the prize, definitely.
No, it's a fantastic strike, and I'm sure at 1-0, you know, they were obviously looking for the second one, and when somebody, you know, pops up and does that, it's certainly a massive help, yeah.
Brilliant goal from him, and Jackson Irvine getting another one as well today. He's been brilliant since signing. But Rotherham, just 1 win, 13 points now from safety. Steve, we look at the managers that they've had since being in the Championship. You had 55 games in charge, but since you leaving, the manager's taken charge for an ever-decreasing amount of games. What is going so badly wrong?
Well, I think from my perspective, I think Neil Warnock was a big loss to the football club. You know, Neil came in and galvanised them, and post Neil Redfern then got them back to winning ways, and they were magnificent for them till the end of the season. I think you have to look and say that, you know, they brought Alan Stubbs in for all the right reasons. The chairman brought him in. He was fantastic up at Hibernian, and he won the cup and got a club playing some fantastic football. But I think we all accept the Championship here is different to the Championship in Scotland in terms of the standards across. And you have to look at the recruitment and say that, you know, players win you matches. A fantastic quote by Jurgen Klopp in the week, and I've actually said it previously, and so has other coaches, but 95% of the games at 3 o'clock are won by the players. 95% is them. Maybe 3-4% the coach and the squad. When you go on the training ground, it's reversed. But they've not got the players at the minute, Rotherham United, to be winning games on a regular
already,
basis.
Do you think? Are they
no,
down?
well, you're not going now because as Chris knows, and he's been at many years, you can win 3 or 4 games in the Championship out of 5, and you can be back in it. But Tony Stewart is... Nobody will be hurting more this evening than Tony Stewart that he's not got some of these things right. But he'll still be investing his millions of pounds, the Stewart family. And I, for one, hope they get it right, because I know how difficult it was to get them there. So I hope they get the right appointment to support people at Paul Warren, who's a great steadying influence, but they need an experienced man at the helm.
How tough will it be at the moment for the players?
Yeah, it's horrible. You think, you know, everything's against you. Everybody's saying that, you know, they could be going down, they're looking like they are going to. And it's hard work, and, you know, when you're in a run of results where you're not picking them up, it can be a lonely place at times, but there's no magic wand. All you have to do is get in every day and believe that you can turn it around. And as we said, if you can pick up 2 or 3 wins, it can seem a different place. But yeah, they'll be hurting because they know if they don't turn it around quickly, then, you know, they could get cut adrift.
How tough a job is this for whoever takes over? Because no one's going to want to have a relegation on their CV, Steve. Ronnie Moore, the favourite at the moment. What approach should they take?
Well, I think they have to go for experience. They have to have someone in who knows the level, someone who can galvanise the troops. Momentum's a wonderful thing in football, whether you're the top of the Premier League or whether you're in League Two. Momentum carries a lot of it, and they need a coach in there to galvanise those boys. They need to go and dig out a 0-0 somewhere or a 1-1. They need to get a point on the board and work that then into victories, 2 or 3 victories, and they're back in the rest.
Massive job for whoever takes over. OK, stay with us for more action from the Sky Bet Championship. We'll be showing you how Preston went down fighting amongst themselves at Hillsborough.
You're watching Football on 5. 4 more matches then from the Sky Bet Championship are coming your way.
Steve McLaren's Derby were at Wigan, having won their last of 4 games. The last time they won 5 in a row was April 2014, when their manager was Steve McLaren.
That run has seen Derby take 16 points from the 7 games McLaren's been in charge. They started the brighter at the DW. Bradley Johnson, who scored the winner against Norwich last week, had 2 from 2. This game matched the Championship's joint lowest scoring teams, though Luke Garbutt's back pass almost enabled Johnny Russell to make it 2-0. Chances were few and far between here. Derby scored with their only one on target. Max Power lived up to his name with this effort for Wigan, but not enough to beat Scott Carson. Power would get another chance to pull the Latics level, but his header was denied by the bar. Since McLaren's arrival, Derby have picked up more points than any other side in the division.
We'd like to have played with the ball better, but, you know, it's a platform, what we've got. Hard to beat, clean sheets. And we'll need it next week because it's the big Derby game, and we'll get ready for that one now.
Wednesday's impressive recent home form has boosted their hopes of erasing the memories of last season's playoff heartache. Fernando Forestieri's been the main man for the Owls in recent weeks, and he treated the home fans to his 3rd goal in as many games. This glancing header, his 14th goal in his last 27 matches at Hillsborough. Preston, though, were unlucky not to have levelled in an open game. Callum Robinson's wonderful effort deserved better than to find the outside of a post. Goalscorer Forestieri then demonstrated the less positive side to his character, tangling off the ball with a furious Ben Pearson. It wasn't immediately clear what had transpired, but referee Scott Duncan, on advice from his assistant, brandished a straight red card. It was Forestieri's 3rd sending off of 2016, 2 of them against Preston. And it sparked an astonishing finale. The 10 men got a 2nd goal when visiting keeper Chris Maxwell poleaxed Will Buckley. And Wednesday substitute Stephen Fletcher scored his 1st goal in 7 games from the resulting penalty. But North End weren't finished, and their substitute Owen Doyle struck with his 1st league goal since March, leaving Wednesday hanging on and the visitors seemingly within sight of a possible comeback. But drama then turned to farce as Preston pressed the self-destruct button. As they pushed for an equaliser, Doyle chose to pick out Marnik Vermeil rather than Jermaine Beckford, who was absolutely furious. Emotions boiled over, and incredibly, he and Doyle squared up and were both sent off for fighting with each other. So 10 men beat 9 in the end, and Wednesday moved up to 6th place. No shortage of talking points here.
In 30 years of being involved in football, playing and managing now, I thought I'd seen a lot when I went to Forest Newcastle last night, 2 sending-offs, 2 penalties. But today I've seen 2 players from the same team getting involved in a disagreement and ended up getting sent off and ultimately costing us something out of the game, because again, 11 against 10, 2-1, we were certainly in the game. We looked like we were going to get the equaliser at the very least. And ultimately they've let us down, let supporters down, let the football club down, and cost us getting something out of the game with their decision making today.
Of course, when we was with more players on the pitch, everything was more clear to us, and we managed the game at the end.
A pointless November had seen Bristol City drop into the bottom half of the table. They need top scorer Tammy Abraham in the goals again, just 1 in their last 7 league games. He was brought down by Bartosz Bielkowski. And although the Ipswich keeper guessed the right way, Lee Tomlin's effort had too much power. Ipswich are struggling to score on the road. 4 away goals, the lowest in the division. David McGoldrick almost level for the visitors, but was denied by a combination of keeper and post. City sealed victory with what Ipswich boss Mick McCarthy called an unbelievable flying bomb from Luke Freeman. Quite some way for the Robins to put last month's losing streak behind them.
Unbelievable strike, and to be fair, we've been doing quite a lot of that sort of thing, and even yesterday we were doing volleys from the edge of the box. So for his first goal at Ashton Gate, I think that's amazing for him and worth the entry fee alone.
Wolves and QPR were free to watch all the drama unfold, with their match played on Thursday night, when James Perch's sending off proved pivotal, mistiming his challenge on Matt Doherty, having already been booked for dissent. Referee Tim Robinson's hardline approach didn't go down well with Rangers boss Ian Holloway, who saw his 10-man team carved open on the hour. Dominic Iorfa's determination setting up Dave Edwards to put Wolves on course to end a winless run that had spanned 9 games. This was their 3rd match under Paul Lambert, and the new manager's first victory, sealed in eye-catching style by Howder Costa, whose quick feet seemingly had the home players too scared to make a challenge inside their own area. It was also Holloway's 3rd game in charge since his return to Loftus Road, but reality's rapidly taken the shine off the 3 points his team gained against Norwich first time out. Joel Lynch's strike came too late for a QPR comeback as they slipped to back-to-back defeats.
So Wolves are up to 20th, while QPR dropped to 17th. Rotherham stay bottom of the league, having picked up just 1 point from their last 12 games. And Wigan dropped to 23rd, and Cardiff a point from safety.
Here is the other end of the table. Newcastle are now just 1 point clear of Brighton at the top. Chris's Reading, they stay 3rd despite losing today. And look at Leeds moving above Birmingham into 4th. Sheffield Wednesday occupy that final playoff spot. We need to go back to that Preston game. What on earth was going on? Talk about beating yourselves.
Well, it's madness, isn't it? You know, when you see a good manager like Simon Grayson just mystified as what's going on. You know, this thing's happened. The boy Doyle's gone wide. Jermaine obviously has a few words.
He's pointing where he wants to pass. That's what angered him, we think.
Well, there's a lot of players pointing for passes every week, isn't there, every game. But, you know, what happens afterwards for everyone in football is unacceptable. You know, and listen, Simon Grayson will sort that out in the morning. I'm sure both lads will be disciplined accordingly, and hopefully they put it behind them, because they're 2 players that Simon's going to need.
You ever seen anything like this, Chris?
Obviously the one years ago at Newcastle. Never been involved in it sort of on the pitch. It's something that obviously never really happens.
Have you ever felt like smacking one of your teammates?
Probably not to that point, but I mean, arguments do happen, and stuff is always said, especially on the pitch when emotions are running high. But I think, you know, the most important thing now, it's happened. You know, you need to sort it as quick as possible. You don't need that festering around now for the next week. You need to obviously get them in a room and sort it out, because it's not acceptable. But you can't let it linger, because otherwise, you know, it will cause problems going forward.
And there'll be no one hurting more than those 2 lads tonight. You know, Jermaine and Coyle, they'll be hurting. They'll know that what's happened today is unacceptable, and the first and foremost thing they need to do is apologise to their football club and supporters. That will happen. They've got a good manager to address it.
We can't move on without looking at that unbelievable flying bomb again. That Luke Freeman, a goal for Bristol City, ending a 3-game losing streak for them today. What a finish, Chris.
Yeah, I think that probably tops the Burton Albion one as well. That was obviously come out on the volley full, and again to sort of seal the game. But if you're an Ipswich player, there's probably not much you can do. You've cleared the free kick and it comes out, and yeah, it's a fantastic strike and a good win for them.
I just love the reaction from Tammy Abraham as well. Right, action from Sky Bet League 2. That's coming next. Could Doncaster claim top spot? To do so, they needed to win away at Stevenage. Welcome back to Football on 5. A couple of bits of news to bring you from Leagues 1 and 2 now. Hearts head coach Robbie Neilson has left Tynecastle to take the manager's job at MK Dons.
And after steering Barnet to the edge of the playoff spots following a 7-match unbeaten run, Martin Allen, who is looking at you, Lynsey, by the looks of it,
feels like that,
has left the hive for the milk and honey of National League Eastleigh. Into the Sky Bet League 2 action then. Yeovil against Crawley. And first Doncaster, who had the chance to go top with a win at Stevenage.
Doncaster appeared destined to take that top spot in a 13-minute period in the first half. Andy Butler headed home from a James Coppinger free kick. And then Rovers doubled their lead when Tommy Rowe found the man voted PFA fans League 2 Player of the Month for November, 19-year-old Liam Mandeville. That's 6 in 6 games for him. Not only would a 4th straight win send Doncaster top, it would be Darren Ferguson's best run since taking charge. They seemed out of sight when Matty Blair made it 3-0. Darren Sarll made a double substitution at half-time. It paid dividends when one of those replacements, Tom Pett, pulled one back for the Borough. Stevenage had managed just 1 point from their last 4 home games, but they weren't going down without a fight. Fraser Frank's fine volley made it 3-2 with his first since August. Almost immediately, Doncaster responded. Another Coppinger free kick, this time John Marquis's header via Jamie Jones in the Borough goal, had surely sealed the win. But Stevenage still weren't done. With 1 minute remaining, Rowan Liebird scored his first EFL goal to make it a nervous final few moments. Rovers hung on, though, to go top of League 2.
I have to credit my players to come here. This is a tough place. This is a really tough place to come. And it's a really good club. But we've managed to win, and we'll look at it on Monday with a win under our belt, 4 in the bounce, and top of the league.
All Yeovil's fans want for Christmas is a promotion push, and a 7-match unbeaten run suggests they could be rewarded. They were impressive today. Tom Eaves got them underway by ending a 7-match League 2 goal drought with a cheeky back heel. A relieved Eaves then turned provider, setting up Ryan Hedges for his 4th league goal of the campaign to push Crawley further towards a 4th straight-away defeat. And that became a formality just before half-time. Otis Khan completed a lovely move involving Eaves again and made it 3-0 with a precise finish, his 2nd goal in successive games. And early in the second half, Khan had his first ever Glover's double, finishing smartly after Hedges' shot had been superbly saved by Morris. The impressive Eaves was replaced by Francois Zoko, but the transition was seamless as the substitute, who has a habit of scoring late goals, angled the ball home to make it 5-0. Yeovil move up 7 places into 6th with their biggest league win for over 12 years.
When I look at the group of players we've got, that's unbeaten now in 8 games. We fielded 19 players, which is the best stat in the whole of the Football League. We've had a number of clean sheets, and that's a mark of a successful team.
That result sees Crawley stay 16th, while Stevenage's loss to Doncaster means they remain 14th.
At the other end of the table, Doncaster took advantage of their rivals being in FA Cup action by winning their game in hand to go a point clear of Carlisle and Plymouth at the top. Yeovil are up to 6th.
So fourth straight win for Doncaster. And Steve, you've had a decent start with Mansfield, a couple of wins, defeat to Carlisle, who are flying high at the moment. I think most people expected you to take another championship job, though. Why drop down to League Two and why Mansfield?
The reason for not taking the championship job is I didn't want to get into any football club and have firefights and have boards against supporters and ones against supporters. I've been through a little bit of that and didn't want to take that on again. And secondly, I wanted a break, and then if I was going to come back in, I wanted to come back into something that was exciting. And as I've said, when I went off to meet the Radford family, John and Carolyn, about joining Mansfield, I never thought for 1 minute on the way there I was going to do it, but such was the enthusiasm of the chairman and the chief executive and how much they were going to support it, and they really demonstrated how much they wanted us to go and be building something quite special for the football club. Reminded me of what we'd done at Rotherham, and it just felt right, and if it felt right, then I accepted the offer.
So what are your ambitions there, then? Do you think you can get them promoted?
We can certainly get promoted. You know, we sit a couple of points off the playoffs and very much in the mix, but League Two is so congested, and there's some outstanding clubs in League Two, and some big clubs. A good friend of mine, Darren, has just taken Doncaster Rovers top of the league, but when you look at the Luton Towns and the Portsmouths and that, so there's some big clubs, but we're going to try and do some business in January, added to some very good players we've got, you know, that just need a little bit of help. And
is
then
that why you're being nice about the owners, because you want some cash in January?
Well, I don't need to be nice. He's going to give me some cash anyway, not for me personally.
Off camera, he said automatic promotion.
Yeah. See, the guy's a goal scorer. But no, the good people, and you always judge people over a period of time, but it seems as if the relationship is right on track. I was with the chairman, the chief executive, only last evening, and we were discussing opportunities to go and do certain things in the marketplace. Plus, of course, look after some players we've got. We've got some good players. We keep saying that, and we mean that. So we're going to try and get involved in the mix, and we can get involved in the mix this season, then fantastic. I know that the chairman desperately wants to put his football club in the Championship, but at the same time, he recognises how tough that is to achieve.
And Chris, just very quickly, what would you see as a successful season for Reading?
Probably don't want to make too many predictions at this time.
You said off camera, playoffs. He says fourth or fifth.
Go on, put your neck on the line.
No, I mean, obviously, if we're sat in third in December, then people would probably expect me to say, you know, playoffs. So that's probably the aim. But, you know, over the next sort of couple of weeks at Christmas is a busy time, so we'll see where we are.
Right, well, thank you both. That's it from us tonight. Thanks to Steve and to Chris. Good luck to you both for the rest of the season.
Yes, we'll see you next time. Goodbye.